This is Peter Cimoroni for VVS Film Productions, CommTalk, Episode 3 with Mike Smith from Alexis Exhibits. Mike, there's a lot going on at the show.
Right.
Talk a little bit about what that is. Not talk a little bit, talk a lot about what's going on there and what needs to happen.
All right. So for most of our clients who are exhibiting in national shows,
sure,
we handle pretty much all of the logistical support.
Okay.
So we have designed the exhibit, we've produced the exhibit, we've shipped it in the most effective way to the show.
And you build it and display it, right?
Yes,
yeah.
We build it,
sure,
the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the client trusts us to handle the physical exhibit itself.
Sure.
We have years of
These
experience.
things aren't cheap either.
No, they're very expensive.
Gracious, right? Yeah.
And it's very time critical.
Sure.
You don't just pull up in front of the Las Vegas Convention Center, honk the horn, and people come out and unload your truck.
Right.
It's not the way it works.
Yeah.
All these things are things you learn mostly through trial and error over the years. But we have
how many years experience? A few years, right?
Almost 50 years.
God bless. That's awesome.
So on the logistical side, we handle all that. That's the most effective way. That allows the people who are employees of the exhibiting company, our clients,
right, to
do what they're most talented at and what brings the most benefits to their employer and their companies. And that is to handle the marketing, deal with staff, do all of the ancillary things that are so important and so time consuming.
Sure.
And then all they got to do is know that we're going to have the exhibit ready for them when they walk on.
So no headaches.
No headaches.
It's seamless. They just go out and move product.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And usually our clients will get involved. Speaking of product, they'll get involved in the products phase of it. So they'll be sending in whatever their product is.
Sure.
If it's pharmaceuticals or car parts or whatever the thing is, that stuff is shipped in, and they're going to want to handle that stuff, make sure it's displayed properly and all that. But the display is done. Right. There's no anxiety on their part for that side of it, and we take care of everything for them like that. And that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
So that interface pretty much is done at that point. Yeah, gotcha. So what happens during the show and then after the show?
Well, during the show, we usually are invisible.
Good.
So
that's good.
All the things, all the right arrangements are made.
Right.
The client, if the client wants us to have representation there, we can. Sometimes we come in before or after the show to make sure everything is clean and ready for the next day.
Right.
All that type of stuff is taken care of. Of course, any problems that might arise, electrical or that type of that things do happen.
Sure.
And we're there, and we have relationships with companies all over the country to get things fixed and done should that become necessary.
Yeah.
But with proper planning, that's seldom the case. So the show goes on for 3 days. At the end of the show, the clients usually want to repack their products to make sure that they're handled in accordance with what they do.
Okay.
Then they leave, pick up their briefcase and go to the airport. And I like to call it the salesman's frenzy. Yeah. Because they are nothing but interested in getting out of that convention center at the close of that show.
Sure.
And when they're gone, the dust settles. We come back usually the next morning because it takes time for the show to roll up the aisle carpet and bring the empty crates back and all this stuff that we know how to deal with.
Right.
And when at the end of that time, then we send in crews that come carefully dismantle the exhibit, repack it as it was packed.
Okay.
They're the same guys who did the setup, take it down.
Sure.
And they put it away carefully. And then we have arranged for van line transportation to come back to our facility, and we warehouse it. So really the biggest value is that they have no worries. That's right. They just do their job. Right. Right. Absolutely. And it's not a particularly, in a corporate structure, somebody that knows how to execute a trade show is not as valuable as they should be. Okay. It's very difficult. Okay. But it's not thought of extremely highly in terms of you're going to be the next VP of marketing because you know how to set up a booth. And
yeah, typically, how many trade shows do they do a year?
well, it's all over the board.
Yeah,
we've got people that do one every 2 years.
Sure.
Mine Expo is once every 7 years.
Sure.
Which, in my opinion, ought to be a law against that. But
right.
I'm a little biased.
I get you. Well, plus what happened with COVID, so there's a little bit of change in the in the landscape there. But,
yes. But generally, there's the average would be once a year. There's a major show that involves one of our clients in their industry. And then there are usually regional or ancillary shows where they'd take a smaller space, but are equally as important. It's just that it's not on a national basis. And we have a division that handles that specifically. If you could give your client one word of advice to make sure that this thing is the most effective they could be, what would it be? Find a trusted, experienced supplier. Okay. And lean on them to do what they're supposed to do. And how about that internal person too? Having that internal contact that is proficient. Yeah. But focus on the things that are going to elevate you and your company and produce results for your company. And it's not trying to save $25 on a wastebasket rental in Las Vegas, which a lot of people get all caught up in that. Sure. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not, it's a misplaced priority in my opinion. It's a red herring. Yep. No question about it. Well, Mike Smith, again, gems this episode. This is Peter Cimoroni for CommTalk, episode 3 with Mike Smith from Alexis Exhibits. Thank you, Peter.